In the year 1187, the balance of power in the Holy Land would shift forever. This was not just a battle, it was the breaking point. The day the Crusader kingdom lost its sword, its shield, and its future. This is the story of the Battle of Hattin, how pride, heat, and strategy reshaped an entire age. For nearly 90 years, the Crusaders held Jerusalem, a kingdom carved from conquest and maintained by constant war. By the 1180s, it was crumbling. King Baldwin IV, the leper king, had died. His heir, Baldwin V, was a child. Power passed to Guy of Lusignan, a man seen as weak and arrogant by many barons. Worse still, the kingdom was divided between the cautious veteran Raymond of Tripoli and the more aggressive, court-backed Reynaud of Chatillon. Reynaud had been raiding caravans during a truce, provoking Saladin, not just as a general, but as a leader of Islam. It was no longer a matter of border skirmishes. Saladin was preparing for something bigger. Saladin knew the Crusaders were fractured. He decided not to strike Jerusalem directly, not yet. Instead, in July 1187, he attacked Tiberius, a lightly defended city held by Raymond's wife. The goal wasn't conquest, it was bait. Inside the Crusader camp near Nazareth, a war council was held. Raymond argued to wait. Let Saladin stretch his lines. Don't march into the heat. But the Templars, Reynaud, and King Guy insisted. To ignore Tiberius would be cowardice. And so, under the blazing sun, the Crusaders marched, over 20,000 men, armored, proud, and dying of thirst. The decision would haunt them. Saladin's scouts poisoned or blocked springs along the way. His cavalry struck like lightning, killing water carriers, harassing stragglers. By the time the army reached the slopes near the horns of Hattin, they were dehydrated, scattered, and surrounded. That night, Saladin's forces lit the dry grass. Smoke drifted through the camp, choking men already weakened by the heat. No fresh water, no rest, no retreat. On the morning of July 4th, 1187, the sun rose, and with it, the final hour of the Crusader army. Saladin's archers opened the attack. Arrows rained from high ground, hitting packed targets with ease. The Templars and Hospitallers formed a shield wall and counterattacked, pushing through one side of Saladin's line, buying brief hope. But it was a trap. Saladin's main force encircled them. Fires burned again. Knights collapsed from exhaustion, not injury. King Guy's banner fell once, then twice, then disappeared in dust. As the smoke cleared, the slaughter ended. Thousands were dead, others surrendered. After the battle, King Guy of Lusignan was brought to Saladin's tent, exhausted, humiliated, and defeated. With him came Reynaud of Chatillon, the man responsible for breaking truces, attacking Muslim caravans, and provoking the war. Saladin greeted Guy with courtesy. In accordance with tradition, he offered him a cup of cold water, a sign of honor toward a captured king. Guy accepted. Then, in a gesture of solidarity, he passed the cup to Reynaud. Saladin stopped him. Then, without hesitation, Saladin drew his sword and personally executed Reynaud of Chatillon, saying, "It is not for kings to kill kings, but that man was no king." To Saladin, Reynaud was no noble prisoner. He was a man who had broken sacred oaths and murdered innocents. Among the prisoners were over 200 Knights Templar and Hospitallers, elite military monks, bound by oath to fight until death. Saladin spared most soldiers that day, but not them. He ordered their execution, not out of cruelty, but strategy. These men were trained for only one purpose: war, and if released, they would take up arms again. Without hesitation, to spare them was to fight them again. The road lay open. Within weeks, cities across the Crusader kingdom surrendered. Acre, Nablus, Ascalon. Only a few coastal strongholds remained. Then came Jerusalem. In October 1187, after negotiations, the city surrendered peacefully. Saladin allowed Christians to leave with dignity. No massacre, no looting. Even churches were protected. It was the end of an era, and the beginning of another. News of Jerusalem's fall shook Europe. Cathedrals rang bells, crowds wept. And in the courts of kings, vengeance began to stir. One name stood out among them, Richard the Lionheart.